and just vote up the ones that are most important to you. So diving right in, we're going to start with the top question, which is from Leslie. And she asked many of you as well. Oop, it just popped at 2, but we're going to keep going, Leslie. What measures do you take into consideration in determining whether a stock is good, a good investment? Gina, I'm going to hand that one over to you.
That sounds great. So I know from a fidelity perspective, oftentimes if we think of stock, it could be a couple of different things. Is it one company, right, that we're trying to understand the price of that stock? Is it a good investment? Fidelity has this really fabulous way online to look at third-party analysts' information to kind of give you this thing, a score or a grade. It's called StarMine from 0 to 10. 10 is a good score, the best score, 0 is the least. So oftentimes when you're looking at a company, usually we look to say, am I going to make money on this company? Is this company a profitable company? There are so many things that go into it. Oftentimes it's earnings potential, what they do with their free cash flow, who's there as their leader. So the StarMine, that third party, will look to say, do we believe it's a good investment to buy, hold, or should you sell this investment? So we use this third party analyst online to be able to help you to say, is this stock a good stock to buy? Is it a good stock to own? Or do we see a good projection? Now, again, these are analysts' opinions. They could be right, they could be wrong. But when you think as an individual, when we're trying to analyze one company and how to own it, there's so much that goes into it. So I always say, use that third party analysis to help you to figure out, is that something that maybe you want to buy?
Oh, and I love what you just said, Gina. And can I say something a little spicy?
Mm.
Like if you're asking about stocks, you're probably asking about the wrong thing. Investments is about being patient. Investments is about being consistent in a diversified portfolio. I might not even spend my time trying to worry about whether I have the right perfect stock in my portfolio. I would just make sure I'm invested broadly. And there are a lot of different tools to get that done. Just get started. Call us, we can help. Not about the stock that you have.
I love both of those answers, really helpful. And Randall, I think that point is spot on, which is awesome. So a great question came in from Carolyn, and a lot of people are interested. If you solely invest in a 401k right now, what is a suggestion for the next direction to invest in? Randall, I'm going to come over to you.
Oh, this is such a great question because so many people start off their investing journey with a 401k and often overlook the other things that can help. So if you're thinking about retirement, did you know that you can also have a traditional IRA? Even better, one of my favorite account types, you can have a Roth IRA. And a Roth is special because you can put money away every year. And when it grows tax free. And when you take it out, the money that you take out is also tax free. So it has these really special benefits. It's a great complement to a 401k when you're looking at retirement.
I'll jump in there and just kind of when I think about the 401k plans, it's really hard to know, depending on your situation, right? If you need the money sooner or later, depends on how we should invest it. Let's say the 401k is your only investment and you don't need the money for a long time. 401k plans add these target date funds. I don't know what to buy. I can tell you I want to retire at this specific age, which would be this date. Let the account do it for you. It'll get more conservative over time. From a perspective of market movement, if we're trying to be really strategic, if that's the question, should I invest in one thing or another? Just know when you buy, and you buy every paycheck, which is every 2 weeks, it's great to buy on the average. So if the market goes down, you get to buy more shares. So I always say, be really specific in terms of, when am I going to retire? When might I need this money? If you don't want to fiddle around with the different funds inside of there, utilize those target date funds, set it. It's easy. You don't have to worry about looking at the account every week. The best part about it is just to invest on the average over time.
Gina, I'm thrilled that you hit on that. I was someone that did not know. So I started out in a 401k, and I did not know, thank you, Randall, the options outside of my 401k, and the fact that what I was so comfortable in my 401k existed outside. So really appreciate you hitting on that. Next question coming in is from Tamika, and she said, help, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and it's just not working. I want to save and I know I need to, but I just don't know how or where to begin. Help. Gina, I'm going to come back over to you.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I sit down with many different people and we might be in different phases of our lives. I first like to pause and say that you're not alone. So many people feel like this. The fact that you're admitting to it is the best first next step. I love to make a list of the things I have to pay for, that I have to haves, and I have to haves. It's hard, but sometimes it's not that I have to have some of the extra things I want, right? What are the I have to haves and what are the I'd like to haves? One of the best strategies I've seen people say is, I'm going to give myself a percentage or some fun money each month. And what I choose to do with that money can be very different month to month. Maybe it's going out to dinner with friends. You don't have to cut that out of your life, right? But if you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, first write down that I have to pay for. Is there anything in there that we could cut back? Sometimes we might find that we're paying for things like, multiple times, maybe too many subscriptions that you're not using, right? And my goal as I think through this is little bits will make a big difference. Even if you can only do $50 a month, it makes a difference. So when I take a quick step back, I first it goes to putting out a budget or things that you have to do, knowing that each month there might be fun things that you want to accomplish or do, and then making sure that you leave a little bit of money. Once you start saving automatically, I promise you, you don't even notice anymore as much, because when the money's in your account, I think it's easier to spend it. If it's not there, then sometimes it's easier to forget that it exists. And all of a sudden you start a really good strategy. So those are little things that I would always just kind of put out there to do, start off with.
Oh, and I just want to double down on something Gina said. It's like you too can invest. So you can save $1. You can get started investing. You're an investor, right? And then over time, when things get better, when you have these lucky times when you have a little bit more money, you can put a little bit more money in. But the whole thing is about getting started and being as consistent as you can, however that relates to where you are in life.
Thank you. Moving on, what are the best accounts to move savings accounts to an account that potentially can earn 4 to 6% interest? Randall, I'm going to come over to you.
4 to 6% interest is pretty specific, right? And then we're also considering saving. So I'm going to go with the savings part of this, as I'm assuming the person that's asking about this is looking for stability. Saving is for things that you plan on spending maybe a year or two. And the choices that you have for saving are money market accounts, cash, like high interest cash things. And Fidelity has this amazing type of account that you could have called a cash management account that for just putting money in, you get 2.72%. And some of them even sweep to a money market fund. And can you imagine just putting money into an account and making 4.95%? So you have a lot of options at Fidelity, at brokerages like Fidelity. You don't just have to think about the bank for this. A good time to ask if you have money sitting in the bank where you can get a better interest rate.
And Gina, thank you, Randall. Can you build on that? One of the things I know that I've faced is Fidelity Cash Management Account is something we can pin a link to. Someone can go on if they're looking for a little more. Thank you for sharing the money market fund. How do we get access, Gina, to that money market fund?
The money market fund's available in any of your accounts here at Fidelity. So if it's an IRA, if it's a Roth IRA, if it's a brokerage account, which I call a brokerage account, if it's a non-retirement account, the money market fund is available inside of there. It can be a default in your account as well. So it asks you when you open these accounts, do you want the FDIC insured cash bucket as an option, or do you want the money market as an option? Money markets are you can see right in front of us as the little chart that they can fluctuate. The interest can fluctuate, but your dollar value can't, all based off of short-term investments. So I'm going to give you these quotes right now. In 2 weeks, it might be slightly different, but they're available in any of those accounts as a default. You just start moving money in and it would automatically go to those buckets.
Thank you. And one of the most awesome things now, we talk about inflation and how, we're going to the market and things are all costing a lot more. The other flip side is that something like a money market fund is a great way to, earn more than it ever has before. So thank you. A question came in early and it's up there, which is, what can we do to evaluate how well our managed account is being managed? And that was from Marilyn. And Marilyn, that's my mother's name. So I needed to call it out. Gina, let me come over to you.
So a managed account, first, let me just kind of clarify, because I always don't like to use a lot of jargon. Could be an account that someone else manages for you, either here, might be here at Fidelity, might be outside of Fidelity. So I'll answer from a Fidelity perspective, and I'll give you a little insight. When I think of a managed account, something that someone else may manage, it could be one of our online management systems or individual people. Fidelity has a lot of transparency. Some firms, you don't always get all of the performance evaluation as often. You can go onto our website on a daily basis and see performance of your accounts under a performance tab right online. That performance tab will allow you to compare versus a benchmark. So what is a benchmark? What types of investments are we comparing it to? So if you have a portfolio that's 100% stock, all in the US, we would want to compare it to 100% index, all in the US. If you have a portfolio that's a balance of 50-50 in stocks and in bonds, then we want to compare it to a balanced 50-50 performance outlier. You can compare those apples to apples there. One thing to note, those comparisons or benchmarks are just something to give us kind of a something to kind of give us kind of something to look at as a comparison. But just remember, there's a couple of things. There's no fees in those. They're just there as a full comparison, but there's no fees associated with those benchmarks. And then number two, oftentimes there could be pre or post tax returns too, and those are just, they just give you essentially before any taxes would be paid what that is. So I share that as it's a good way to benchmark. Fidelity has it on a daily basis. Many firms do not. If you're asking from a Fidelity perspective, we have the most transparency you could see right on our website, which I love.
Yeah, can I add something to that that often people don't think about with managed money? You are exchanging your money for your time, the time that it takes to do the investments on your own. You are exchanging your money for coaching and support from an advisory team that may be able to walk you off the ledge from making an emotional decision, or somebody that you can go to that knows you when you're in a financial, like a really big life event with your finances, and you really need good guidance on your decision. So if those are things that matter to you and you're getting them, I would consider that part of the exchange for the fee. The cool thing though about Fidelity, I could talk about a lot of different services that are provided out there, but a lot of those things that I just mentioned are available for free. You just call us and we can help you with those things.
What a perfect segue into Katie's question, Randall, which is when should you start working with a financial advisor? What are the appropriate reasonable cost levels associated with that? So I'm just going to come right back over to you.
Got it. So, a common misconception about working with a financial advisor is that you have to pay to get help. So that's the first thing. Not every advisor has a payment associated with it. But when should you work with a financial advisor? Maybe when you're finding that you can't be consistent and you need some help with remaining consistent towards your pathway to success. Maybe if you find that you have questions about the market or about investments that you can't really find a satisfying answer to, and you need to work with somebody that can help you answer those questions. Maybe if you're working on something complex, like you're about to retire or you're in retirement and now you need to make your money turn into a paycheck, complicated things like that. That's when you would want to work with a financial advisor. And let me just take it one step further. What do financial advisors do? And I think that we have a deck about the different types of investing that one can do. And let me just kind of run through what you might be able to do with an advisor here at Fidelity. So you can invest on your own. If you're a person that enjoys that, or you have the time to pick your own things and kind of get a second opinion or some guidance, you can do that with an advisor. You can buy funds. They can help you use the tools to select funds online. They can help you with finding the appropriate digital option, and then you can get professional management like Gina was talking about just a moment ago. A perfect way to think about the difference of these is, maybe like cooking dinner, right? If I enjoy cooking, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to buy all the ingredients myself. Maybe you tell me, hey, am I doing the right thing? That's investing in your own. A single solution like fund or a target date fund or something like that is kind of like those meal kits that come in the mail. Maybe you're not selecting what they are, but you have dinner, right? You don't have a lot of control over it, but they're coming, saves you time, saves you a lot of energy. The digital option, I might compare that to any of those tools where you go on and you say, I want to focus on gluten-free, or I want to focus on low fat or high fat. And then they send you a very dedicated system, of meals. That's like the digital option. Professional management is like, hey, personal chef, this is what I'm trying to do. Help me adjust over time, right? Where you are is what determines what you need. And the investment advisor can help you along all of these options.
Thank you. That was the first time I have heard that analogy, and I love it because it's so easy to really understand what those options are and figure it out for yourself. Now we've got a question coming in about retirement. So how do you determine how much money you need to retire? Gina, let's come over to you.
So the closer that you are to retirement, I would recommend to come to meet with someone and get really specific. So come sit down with an advisor, talk through what you need, and we'll kind of help you to figure out, are you on track or are you there? A really good barometer. So people will come to you and just say, just give me an idea. By the time you want to get to retirement, the rule of thumb is to have 10 times your salary saved. So there's age ranges. So at 30, you want 1 times your salary saved. By age 40, you look at 3 times your salary saved. So we have these barometers to also give you as a checkpoint. So you can just kind of go on and say, hey, I'm 40, I have 3 times my salary saved towards retirement or long term, or by the time you retire, 10 times is the barometer. I'll just share though, Lorna, you know this and I know this. Some people spend more, some people spend less. So get more specific as you get closer. Go meet with someone. But if you wanted just a quick checkpoint, that's a quick checkpoint.
Oh,
Hey,
and
Gina,
don't wait until the day that you're like, ooh, should I retire next week, next month? Because, I'm sure Gina has been in that position before, and it's like, well, do we have a lot to work with or a lot of adjustments that you can make? Maybe, maybe
easier.
not.
Easier to sit down with someone and say, okay, here's some adjustments to make if we have some time. But it's just a good checkpoint, just so you can kind of get an idea.
Thank you. And I just want to hit on Charlotte's question, and you could just quickly address it, but I got to bring it in because it's part of the conversation. So
Yeah.
she said that Susie Orman recently said you need 5 million to retire. I've heard this number before. Can you just, Gina, give a quick comment on that?
I would love to. Really, I have clients who come in, their situation's so different, right? Your needs are different, your situation's different. I have some clients who have pensions, some clients who I look at and we sit down and your income needs are different. The amount of money that you need saved is really going to be specific about cash flow that you need. What do you want to spend? Do you want to gift money to family? Do you have philanthropy in your goals? Like your goals and what you want as your outflow of cash are really going to be the bigger indicator of what you should have saved as a nest egg. There's no like $1 amount.
Thank you. Great question coming in. I think we covered this before, but I think it's important because we've got a lot of folks asking in different ways about starting investing in the stock market. Randell, I do know you just did this, but if you can really just give a different lens for someone who's getting started, honing in on the options that make sense for them, I think would be great.
Yeah, so one thing that you have to consider when you're investing, there's so many different ways I can go with this. It's like, let me address this. The person that is asking how to start and when to start might also be thinking about what the journey might be like and how to stay invested. So one of the charts that we have is like a picture of how the market performs over time. So if someone could pull that up and let's start there. So I liken the market to like being on a roller coaster. So you're about to start investing, you get on this ride, right? It goes up, it goes down, there's sharp turns here or there. And what tends to happen is when those dips happen, people get a little afraid. But just like a roller coaster, things tend to go up over time. It's going to be fine. You're on the ride typically. Okay. So that's the first thing about this. Get started, stay consistent, be patient. And that's the only way that you'll make it to your peak. And the peak is whatever your goal is. The other perspective here is that there are people out there who believe that investing is buying something and then getting out. Buying a stock and then getting out. And it's really about a diversified portfolio, which is what I mentioned before. One of the things about investing and staying consistent, and maybe starting today if you're not already doing it, is that if you just miss out on just the 5 best days in the market, your portfolio value missed out on 38% returns, right? So you don't want to be on the sidelines, even when those times feel scary. So with all of that said, hey, maybe you understand that you need to stay invested even when times are scary. Maybe you understand that you need to stay invested to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of the best days that the market has and that you can't predict it. How do you do that? And we can go back to the slide that I mentioned before when I was talking about the food choices, the grocery. And I'll say something here. If you're thinking too much about what to do, like maybe you're not a DIY. If you're thinking too much about like, ooh, am I picking the right mutual fund? Maybe you're not a single fund solution investor, right? You can get help, just call us and we will help you match the right solution to what you're trying to accomplish. And one other thing here, the common misconception here is that when you move to the right of this chart, it costs more money. And that's not true, right? So don't let the thought about paying for a fee be the thing that prevents you from getting started. So I threw a lot out there.
Thank you. I think the most important thing, and hopefully we could just bring it up as we're talking, is Fidelity is here to help. You can call and the help is for free. If you have a workplace plan with us, so retirement plan, it's a benefit. And I think it's so important. Something I didn't know is that I could call the number and hopefully I think we've pinned the number in the chat, but hopefully we can also, I don't see it on my screen, but hopefully we can pull in that 800 number at some point. I want to keep going because this always goes by so quickly. I want to hit on Antoinette's question, as many others with her, which I keep hearing ETFs, REITs, and index funds are good to invest in. Rates. Can all of those be done here? And is there help for selecting them? Thank you. Gina.
Yes. Okay. So you can buy all those things here at Fidelity, just like Rendell said. The great thing about Fidelity is there's so many choices. And the challenging thing is that we don't really limit you to anything that you'd like to do. When you think about an ETF, it stands for an exchange traded fund. So our RIE, like a REIT, like the other
REIT,
saying,
yeah.
is a real estate investment trust. These types of investments can be purchased here at Fidelity. You can do it on your own all the way over to if you're looking at this to the left, or we do have investment management help where you can even have it as part of a digital offering or all the way of as professional management offering, where we have portfolios that we do add exchange traded funds and different types of investments like those. So just know, yes, you can buy those and you can get help with those, or you can go online and do them yourselves. When people say they're good investments, I would just always say it's okay to talk to someone if you don't know what they are, if they're appropriate for you. Again, complimentary service, just to work with a professional. It doesn't matter what dollar amount you have. So Lauren, I always say call someone just to make sure it's the right thing for you before you just jump into it.
Awesome. NK, and so many of you, I totally hear the request to make a Spotify playlist. We are going to take that away. We get that a lot. We love this music as well. So team behind the scenes, take note of that. And we're going to work on that. Katie asked a great question. If Roth 401k is an option through employer, can that money be rolled into a Roth IRA?
I'll jump on that. It can. So if your Roth 401k is an offering inside of there, there's no income limitation. So with a Roth IRA, you have low income limitations. So oftentimes I'll have clients say to me, I really want to put money into a Roth. If it's in the 401k, you can. And either most plans at 59.5, you can do something called an in-service rollover if you want to move your Roth 401k money to a Roth IRA. Or when you leave a company, you can do that as well. So just know the amount you put in, plus all the earnings can go to a Roth IRA, either when you're working there over a certain age or when you leave a firm, when you leave a company.
Awesome. Okay. Favorite question coming in. Randall, I'm going to throw it over to you because I know you're going to love it, which is, do we have to have a certain amount to invest to use your services, or do you provide services to all income levels?
We provide services for everyone because we believe that everyone should be able to make their money work hard for them, right? So if you look again at, I love this image, right? The same thing with the self-directed, the funds and the digital and the managed solutions. I would say from the left all the way to digital, you can start with $1 or $10, you know? So you have a lot of different options. Now, the professional management, it tends to have different breakpoints based on how complex that person's situation is. Professional management, there are some tax considerations that people have when they start to earn more or make more money, but everyone can invest. So I hope if you're not invested and you've asked that question, that you call us or you look online and you find something to get started today. Absolutely.
And I think the point is that you are all here to help because you do this day in and day out when there are thousands and thousands on saving and investing and helping to make those right decisions for your goals. So that is great. Thank you. I know we're continuing to come but up on time, but I would like again, SC asked, and we've got a few more people around really how to make the most of their short-term savings. So the question is, does Fidelity offer high yield savings accounts? Is this a short or long-term opportunity? I was unable to find the information on the site. So I think we might want to bring that slide back up. But Gina, can you
Mhm.
just cover
Yeah.
what is available? Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So at Fidelity, we have money markets. At banks today, I'll share many clients are getting 0% interest. So check your bank account, very low interest. And when we have a higher interest kind of environment like today, this is the opportunity when you can look and say, do I want a cash management account? Do I want a money market fund? The money market fund here that we're quoting is zero, like there's no minimum. The more money that you have here at Fidelity, there also are different money market breakpoints. So you get a little bit more interest because the internal expense is a little less. So even a little bit more high yielding than here. And usually those breakpoints are 100,000. So just so you can kind of get an idea. When I think about having your money work better for you though, these are rates are all short term. So if interest rates go up, these interest rates can also increase. If interest rates come down, they also can come down. And it's generally, if you look at these kind of pieces, a lot of the holdings inside are 30-day holdings or less in terms of interest rates. So just know it can be your emergency account. I wouldn't suggest it as a long-term investment strategy. We want to fight inflation with that. And usually this will hover around inflation. But just know if we're having our cash emergency account, anything we need in the short term, get 0% interest and we can get almost 5%. You do a lot better by making sure that we do this review and make sure that you look at a money market right here at Fidelity. So again, high yield savings account, money market, it's liquid. There's no time frame you have to be in it. We don't make you keep a minimum inside of there.
Can I
Great.
add something real quick? We have a deck, and I'll just keep it really brief about like the difference between saving and investing over 10 years for different amounts of money. So we're thinking about everybody out there. And it's really important when you're asking about savings rates. Do you mean savings or do you mean I'm afraid to invest? Right. So if you want
Good
help
point.
getting those returns and making sure that the money is working as hard as it can to accomplish what you're trying to do, you should be considering investing over the long term, and we're here to help you with that.
So we've got probably a minute. Folks want to stay on. I want to keep going and we're just going to try to hit on a couple of them. So Nakia asked, my screen is moving. We talked a lot about the 401k, but if you're self-employed, what are options for you? Gina, can you tackle
Yeah.
that?
Lots of different options. We have a retirements group here at Fidelity as well. You could call in and say, here's my situation. So let me kind of give you some high level. Self-employed individual, no employees that work for you. We have self-employed 401k plans. Very different than like doing a big 401k plan. It's very easy, just so you know, from a cost perspective as well as setup. So you can do a self-employed 401k plan. Let's say you have a couple of employees that you work with. We also have things called SEP plans, SEP, as well as simple plans here at Fidelity, as well as you could just do a traditional IRA or a Roth. So it really depends on the type of plan that you're looking for, how many employees you have, what the situation is, but just know, and depending on how much you want to save. So a SEP allows you to do, so there's rules around it, 25% of your net income after you think about tax deductions. where a self-employed 401k plan, you can maximize up to 69,000 in 2024 between employee and employer contributions. So really, I think it's great to talk to someone in our retirement plans group as well, or one of us as an advisor, because we can direct you to how much you want to save, what type of business or like a self-employed person are you, and then what's the most efficient way to do it.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to do one more question. I think we could pull up the screen. We're doing it. Jeannie asked, can I visit a local Fidelity office in my town, or would this be an extra fee outside of my employer plan? Randall.
It's all complimentary. You can
Gina
avoid-
couldn't even hold back.
We're here for you. We're here for you. Just walk in, you know?
And so I don't know what town you live in, but we have them all over the country where we can be very close to you. If you find that there's not someone close to you, we do have we could do, phone appointments, or also Zoom's great these days. So if you're on this call and you say, oh, I wish there was a office in my town and there's not, just find something local or find someone that can help you. We also have phone relationships, Zoom relationships. So don't feel like you have to have someone in your town, but we're all over the country.
And
Perfect
it
time.
does not cost anything. It doesn't cost.
Awesome. And right now, that's why perfect time to pull up the last screen, which is around the 800 number for, you can follow us. Yeah, here we go. We say it doesn't cost, which I love, but where you can call us. So if you don't have someone local, give us a call at 800-343-3548. And then continue to join these discussions, as well as help straight to your inbox. If you join today for the first time and are not a member of the community, you can register fidelity.com/WTM. There's also additional articles and help and videos. Last but not least, I do want to highlight, we just actually launched Women Talk Money on YouTube. We've got a number of just recent discussions available. We're going to continue to bring those. So go take a look. Those are, I would say, inspirational, career, money, and life. So take a look at those. And last but not least, we always continue the conversation on both Women Talk Money Instagram and Women Talk Money LinkedIn. We also share what's upcoming. So please join us. Gina and Randall, thank you for a very packed session of questions. Thank you very much. Take the survey for all of you who joined us today. We're looking for feedback. I've heard these go by so quickly. What more can we do to help you? What can we be doing differently? Please let us know. We are open to it and want to just continue to serve you and help you make your money work harder than you do. Thank you. And hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.